Representative Alyssa Brown, District 41. And can I bring somebody to the table with me?
Yes, you may. Please recognize yourself for the record as well.
I am Stephanie Nichols, Staff Attorney for Family Council.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Today, I'm honored to present SB 223. This is the Religious Rights at Public School Act of 2025, a bill designed to clarify and affirm the religious freedoms that students and educators already have under the First Amendment. We affirm that religious freedom doesn't end at the schoolhouse gate. It's a God-given right that follows every Arkansan wherever they go. But unfortunately, confusion often surrounds what students and teachers can and cannot do when it comes to expressing their faith. Too often, individuals are feeling uncertain or worse, silenced because they don't know their rights. I've personally received questions from students and teachers in my district asking me, Alyssa, can I do this? Or can I allow this? Am I going to get in trouble for this? So our goal with this bill is simple. It's to provide clarity about existing rights for students, teachers, and parents to know. These freedoms are already protected by Arkansas law, federal law, court decisions, and the First Amendment. This bill does not create new rights, and it does not limit the rights to just these listed. It gives a guide, and it ensures that every public school in Arkansas educates students and staff about the freedoms they already possess at the beginning of the school year. On the Senate side, we did add an amendment giving flexibility to the school district on whether that is in their handbook, policy manual, or online. The Education Department has expressed no problems with this bill, and we haven't heard of any coordinated opposition. But with that, I would like to recognize Stephanie if she wants to add anything.
Yes, it's a blessing to be here with you today supporting this great bill. This will help school districts, and I will tell you why. There is great confusion right now about what the First Amendment both requires and permits within the context of our public schools. And I can give you an example. My daughter is 14, and two of her friends in two different public school districts have been told that they could not have a Bible on their desk at school or couldn't read it during their free time at the same time that they were allowed to read other literature. We have also heard reports of a school librarian who thought the school library could not house a copy of the Bible in the school library. So there's a lot of misunderstanding on this important matters of First Amendment in the public school. And what this bill does not do is violate the most current Supreme Court precedents. I have studied the bill and the Supreme Court precedents that affect the bill's legality extensively, and I can support this bill with full assurance. It's not a bill about coercion. It also does not affect a student's right not to engage in any type of religious exercise or speech at school. So that's important to note as well. So I think the benefits you will see with this bill are better informed public school employees who are less subject to constitutional lawsuits. So many times you have teachers and administrators who are well-intentioned, but they are so busy that they do not have the time to research and pick out every single section of the Arkansas Code, look up all the applicable Supreme Court precedents, and see what the standard is that the school district should be operating under. So we hope this bill is a win-win for students, teachers, and the school districts. And I would be happy to field any questions you might have about the bill.
Representative Brown, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pardon me, I forgot your name, but
Stephanie.
So this bill does not favor any particular religion. It just allows a student to exercise their First Amendment rights.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
Representative Meeks, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two quick questions. First one, the bill states that this would allow the school district to read, discuss, and post documents of historical significance that are of religious nature, contain religious quotes, quotes and references. So in other words, this would allow a teacher to display the 10 Commandments in her classroom. Would that be a practical outcome of that piece of code here?
Only in I would say a legal opinion, only in the context if you were studying the history of the Jewish people. And so not for purposes of proselytizing, it would have to be within a context of historical significance, or maybe you were looking at how the Ten Commandments might have impacted the nation's founding and what the different views on the Ten Commandments were. So that there's also an existing section of state code that talks about that you can go into historical documents and you don't have to censor out religious quotes because they are important to a full understanding. And so I would say, like with most of our First Amendment questions, the context matters.
Sure.
But yes, I could say that there could be a context where if you were studying the historical significance, that could be permitted.
Okay. There is a bill coming on the 10 Commandments that I'm actually co-sponsoring on, so it sounds like it might be a good fit here. My other question is, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, literally. If those religious, there's a satanic Bible, there are satanic, and so would this allow satanic materials into schools as well? And, is that something we need to maybe nuance a little bit with this legislation?
The First Amendment doesn't pick winners and losers, so it's important to note that students would already have the right to bring a satanic religious text to public school. So this does not actually change anything about that. And legally, under the First Amendment, we can't say you can bring your Bible, but you can't bring another religious text.
Right, and again, I'm not so much worried like if someone Islam or something like that, but unfortunately, there are some darker sides to some religions, and that would be my only concern with this. Otherwise, I fully support what you're trying to do here. Thank you.
I totally understand that. If I could call your attention to the bill language, you will find throughout the bill you have the phrase "in the same manner." What that means is the school districts still have reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions that they can employ. So if something is causing a substantial disruption, the U.S. Supreme Court under Tinker said that speech could be limited. So if you have somebody taking a provision from the Satanic Bible and they're trying to run with that in a way that maybe causes a substantial disruption, or it's not in the appropriate time, place, and manner, and it's affecting classroom instruction, then that would be a problem.
Representative Garner, you're recognized for a question. Are there additional questions from the committee? Representative Barnett, you're recognized.
Yes, when it comes to that part about in the same manner in which they're able to, and let's go to the context of reading the Bible. For an employee, and let's say specifically a teacher, when the language says in the same manner as they would with any other book, does that limit a teacher, or are there any restrictions from a teacher being able to read the Bible, let's say during reading time, during instructional time?
I would say with existing Supreme Court precedent, the reading of the Bible during instructional time would have to be linked to a secular educational outcome. So it's not that it would be absolutely prohibited. Like our state law on academic instruction of the Bible, it would need to fit within certain context and parameters to fit within existing Supreme Court precedent.
Representative Painter, you're recognized.
Appreciate that, Mr. Chair. Just a motion at the proper time.
Representative Gonzalez-Worthing, you're recognized.
Yes, I appreciate the questions, and I appreciate you responding to the questions that were posed, so long as they are related to the Supreme Court rulings. I was just wondering if that also needs to be part of this bill, just to help clarify some of those instances like what you mentioned.
I would respectfully suggest that that would actually be unnecessary, because what is actually included in this, when we say things like in the same manner, that's pulling from the Supreme Court precedent. So you have that standard articulated in the bill, and you probably don't want to complicate this bill so much that you have references to 20 different Supreme Court precedents, because it might make this unwieldy and then unbeneficial. It won't be beneficial to school districts if it's too long to read. So I think it's a great suggestion, and there might be, a separate, more extensive training in the Constitution. I would definitely be in favor of that, but for this bill, it's designed to be something simple and short enough that people might actually read.
And just to add on to that, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I spoke to superintendents and teachers that didn't want to be burdened by another document to, again, inform students at the beginning of the year. So going to Stephanie's point, this is to be a guardrails to clarity, again, not limiting, not giving extra rights, but just guardrails that they can point to very quickly in their school handbook to make sure they're protecting their students and they're protected.
Are there additional questions from the committee? Seeing none, we don't have anyone signed up to speak on the bill. Would anybody like to speak for or against the bill? Seeing none, Representative Brown, would you like to close for your bill?
Yes. Thank you all for the questions. Thank you for the debate. Again, I said at the beginning, I'm really honored to present this bill and excited for it to go forward. And again, I did want to point out one section that didn't get pointed out earlier, but we do have in here that this is to promote legal religious activities. So going on to Representative Meek's question, it's not creating any new rights, but just codifying those that we already have. So this is for our teachers, this is for our students, and to protect those God-given rights. And so with that, I would appreciate a good vote.
Representative Brown is closed for a bill. What is the will of the committee? We have a motion to pass. Is there discussion on the motion? Representative Meeks, you're recognized for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since there's kind of a reoccurring theme this morning, I just wanted to read a quote from Dr. Benjamin Rush, and most of you are probably not familiar with him. He was one of our founding fathers, one of the more during that time, he was considered one of the most notable founding fathers, and in a lot of ways, he's actually considered the father of public education. So one of the things he said is, the only foundation for a useful education in a republic is to be laid in religion. Without it, there can be no virtue, and without virtue, there can be no liberty, and liberty is the object of all Republican government. So I appreciate you bringing this bill and look forward to supporting it.
Seeing no additional discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Congratulations, Representative Brown. Your bill is passed.
Thank you.